In the beginning, the world was a breathtaking tapestry of God's creation. But as humanity grew, so did its wickedness. The earth, once a pristine paradise, became stained with corruption and violence. Watching from above, God's heart was filled with sorrow and disappointment. He saw the beautiful world he had made consumed by darkness and decided that it was time for a great cleansing, a reset for all of creation. He planned to send a flood so immense it would wash away all the evil that had taken root. Yet, in this sea of unrighteousness, there was one man who stood apart. His name was Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. It was in Noah that God saw a glimmer of hope, a seed for a new beginning. One day, God spoke directly to Noah, revealing his plan. He told Noah of the coming deluge that would cover the entire earth. But he also gave Noah a mission of salvation. "Build yourself an ark," God commanded. The instructions were incredibly specific. It was to be a colossal vessel, made of cypress wood and sealed with pitch inside and out. It would be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, with 3 decks, a roof, and a single door on its side. This was no mere boat. It was to be a floating sanctuary, a vessel designed to withstand the greatest storm the world had ever known. God's instructions were a lifeline, a chance for Noah and his family to survive the coming judgment. Noah listened, and without hesitation, he committed to this monumental task. He trusted in God's word, even when the command seemed unimaginable. And so, the work began. Noah, along with his wife and their 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives, set out to build the great ark. Day after day, the sound of hammers and saws echoed through the land. They felled massive cypress trees, shaped the timbers, and painstakingly assembled the enormous structure exactly as God had commanded. As this strange, massive vessel took shape far from any sea, their neighbors watched with amusement and scorn. "An ark," they would jeer. "Are you building a ship on dry land, Noah? Have you gone mad?" They laughed at his warnings of a coming flood, for the sky was clear and the sun shone brightly every day. Life continued as it always had, filled with feasting and revelry, and no one paid any mind to the old man and his family toiling away on their impossible project. But Noah's faith was unshakable. He ignored the mockery and continued his work, holding firm to the promise God had made. Years passed, and finally, the colossal ark was complete. It stood as a silent, wooden testament to Noah's unwavering obedience. Then, a new phase of the divine plan began. A miraculous procession started, unlike anything the world had ever seen. From every corner of the earth, animals began to make their way toward the ark. They came in pairs, male and female, of every kind. Lions and lambs, bears and bees, towering giraffes and tiny mice, majestic eagles and slithering snakes, all moved in a harmonious, orderly line toward the vessel. There was no chaos, no fear. It was as if a silent call had gone out, a divine summons that every creature understood. Noah and his family stood at the entrance, guiding the animals into the spacious holds prepared for them. The people who had once mocked him now watched in stunned silence, their ridicule turning to bewilderment. But still, they did not believe. Once Noah, his family, and every living creature were safely inside, God himself shut the door of the ark, sealing them within. For 7 days, they waited in the quiet belly of the ship. Then, it began. The sky, once clear and blue, turned a deep, ominous grey. The fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. Rain began to fall. At first, it was a drizzle, then a downpour, and soon, a relentless, torrential cascade. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights without ceasing. The water level rose steadily, swallowing the fields, the villages, the cities, and even the highest hills. The world that Noah had known disappeared beneath a churning, endless ocean. But inside the ark, they were safe. The massive vessel, once an object of ridicule, now floated securely on the surface of the water, a tiny island of life in a world returned to its primordial state. After 150 days, God remembered Noah and all the creatures with him in the ark. He sent a wind to blow over the earth, and the waters began to recede. The constant downpour finally stopped. Slowly, painstakingly, the floodwaters subsided. The ark, which had drifted aimlessly on the global sea, eventually came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Still, all that could be seen was water. Noah waited patiently. After 40 more days, he opened a window and sent out a raven, which flew back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove. The first time, the dove found no place to rest its feet and returned to the ark. Noah waited another 7 days and sent the dove out again. This time, it returned in the evening, and in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. It was a sign, a symbol of hope and new life. Land was emerging from the water. A week later, he sent the dove out a third time, and this time, it did not return. The long ordeal was finally coming to an end. God spoke to Noah once more. "Come out of the ark." He said, "You and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you." The great door was opened, and a stream of life poured out onto the clean, damp earth. Noah, his family, and all the animals stepped out into a renewed world, breathing in the fresh, rain-washed air. The first thing Noah did was build an altar to the Lord. He gave thanks for their deliverance and for the chance at a new beginning. As he did, God made a covenant, a solemn promise to Noah and to all of humanity for generations to come. Suddenly, a brilliant arch of color stretched across the sky, a magnificent rainbow. God declared, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life." The rainbow became an everlasting promise of God's mercy and faithfulness, a beautiful reminder that even after the darkest storm, there is always hope for a new dawn. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.